Good evening, everybody. First, a little bit about the project in general, and then we'll kind of tie back into the ICF. And we'd also like to talk a little bit as well about other energy-conscious decisions that we've made in the design for the project. This building is a residence hall. It is 134,000 square feet. It's a portion of it's 4 stories, a portion of it's 3 stories. It includes, it'll house 520 students. It has 2 resident director apartments, a classroom, a computer room, and a living learning center, which is a sort of subset of residence life here at Central, where they work on campus life and integrating students together for the college experience. So all those things are combined in this one building. It's kind of a U-shaped building. I thought we might have had a rendering or a plan, but just real quick. Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, it's a U-shaped building, and it's meant to be part of what will eventually become a residential precinct, sort of in the corner of Lawson and Austin here for the campus. It's called Chidley because the existing building across what will be the courtyard here is Chidley, Maine. A lot of graduates and alumni from the campus have a real affinity for the building, so this is sort of going to be the Chidley Residential Hall Complex. There's a number of reasons why ICF was compelling to us for this project. It's not the first time we've used it. We did the South Face project down in a building down in Atlanta. Used, incidentally, polysteel there, and had a good experience with that. This is by far, though, the largest project that we've done using the system. During design, there was some, skepticism about how this would fare schedule-wise with CMU, how it might fare cost-wise. So we reached into the industry, talked with installers who do both CMU and ICF work, and the numbers came back. They were actually pretty close, both for schedule and for cost. And I think what we've seen out here on site, actually, Robbie and Umberto have actually stayed ahead of the CMU guys. I guess I should have mentioned the perimeter of the building, except for where there's curtain wall and punch windows, is all ICF. But the core of the building and the corridors are CMU, and the floor assembly is a precast plank that bears on top of both. So it's kind of been, we kind of foresaw a race between the CMU guys and the ICF guys, and they've kind of kept neck and neck on the project so far. So so far so good. Some of the concerns that we had with the system and its newness, at least here, have been sort of laid aside. Our wall assembly is a 32, is an R value of 32. Building code only requires 14. With an R value of 32, we were able to downsize some of the mechanical equipment from what it would have been had we just met the building code, and save some money there. So what might have been an additional cost with this system, I think, has been absorbed in the reduction in cost in other systems. There was also some curiosity along the way about whether or not this system would lend itself to be flexible with embeds. We've got a fair amount of architectural precast on this project, with coordinating with steel frame assemblies, that sort of thing. And these guys, again, have been pretty creative with how to modify the formwork so that we can maintain as much of that insulating value as possible, yet achieve the structural needs that we had. Let's see. It's interesting. I didn't have any concept of how competitive this industry is, but when it came time for bidding, there were tons of calls from people who had systems that had that weren't necessarily competitive with this particular system. We did specify 3, as this is a state project, and we're happy that it's going as well as it is. In this case, Polysteel and ARXX did work with us during the design on some of the nuances in the precast detailing and embed detailing, that sort of thing. Corners, because we have a lot of ins and outs on the building. and whatnot. So in addition to the ICF, there's a number of other measures that we included, or things that we included in the design to work to be as energy conscientious as possible. We have solar band 70 glazing on our curtain wall assemblies. We have cardinal low E 360 or low E cube 366 glazing on our punch window assemblies. All of the window assemblies are thermally broken. We are reclaiming all of the water from the roof, and all of the water, well, we've just had a recent site stormwater change, but most of the water from the site is being collected in a cistern, and that water will be reused for irrigation for the site. And we actually have irrigation on all parts of the site. We have a 25,000 gallon cistern buried on the north end.
Is it in the courtyard, or is it under?
It's not. We actually had it in the courtyard at one point, but for some other reasons it made sense to actually locate it sort of in between the existing Chidley main building and this building on the north end. It was really where that system was going to tie into the city storm system on down the line. But nevertheless, all of the area drains that collect the water channel it or direct it to the cistern. We're also reclaiming the condensate from all the mechanical equipment is being piped to the cistern as well. What else?
We have occupancy sensors in our hallways and I believe in the offices, where we have dual flush toilets, and there's every two students have a toilet. So there's a lot of toilets, low flow shower heads, low flow faucets.
We have an extensive sun shading system.
Oh, yeah.
Huge part of the aesthetics as well. So we have, where there's curtain wall, there's an exterior sort of exoskeleton with both vertical and horizontal sunshade elements that have a sort of perforated screen in them, that sort of thing. It's a sort of one-off kind of custom assembly. And at the punched windows, there's a horizontal sunshade as well. It's kind of, the window system is sort of organized like this, where for each resident room you have an operable window, even resident rooms that occur in the curtain wall zone. That was kind of tricky to detail. But then we've got a horizontal sunshade there, and we did quite a bit of energy modeling, both in-house and with our mechanical engineers, to confirm that our orientation, the location of the vertical and horizontal sunshades really did cut down on glare and solar heat gain in the building. And so at one point when we were discussing some cost reduction items after bidding, sunshades came up as a possible thing to look at, and we went back to the model, looked at it, and it was just sort of confirmed for us that we did it right the first time, and that was something that we really needed to hang on to.
And we are almost north-south. Because of different zoning regulations, we're about 10 degrees off. So we're very close to having the north-south orientation and the long bar side, but